There are several options out there on the market today for game masters, world builders, and authors who want to make their own beautiful fantasy maps. Inkarnate is one of my favorites in recent years because it makes it really easy to make a very good looking map. However, it does lack something in the customization options and in truly getting a unique feel for your map. Enter Wonderdraft. Wonderdraft is a new player in the game, and today we're going to be taking a look and actually building a fantasy map using this application. And I'll be discussing whether or not I think it has what it takes to topple the likes of Inkarnate. Let's do it. Hi everybody and welcome. My name is Nate and you're watching WASD20, a channel about tabletop role-playing games and fantasy maps. Today's video is brought to you through the support of my amazing patrons. Patrons, thank you so much. You can learn more at patreon.com/WASD20. All right, everybody, so here we are in Wonderdraft. Now, in just a moment, we're going to get started from a blank slate, and I'll be drawing out a map similar to this, probably. But before we do that, just a little context about my experience with certain programs. Inkarnate, I've had a lot of experience with the free version. I now own the pro version, and I've tinkered with it a little, but I haven't messed with it too much. Campaign Cartographer is another one that's very popular. It's been around for a long time, like, I don't know, a couple decades. And it seems really, really robust, but it's kind of expensive and I've never used it. And it just never makes maps that I feel look beautiful. They look like something out of a 1999 computer role-playing game to me. So anyway, that's just my opinion on that, but I think it does have a lot of useful things for game masters. Still, my hope is that with this piece of software, we'll kind of get something in between those two, something that has more options than Inkarnate in terms of customizing it, but is not quite as crazy as something like Campaign Cartographer, and can still make beautiful maps, like the one you see here, which I think looks pretty nice. Okay, we're going to start from a blank slate. All right, so when you first open the program, you get this screen. We're going to go New. And there's several different themes here. I'll be showing these off at the end, and maybe I'll put a timestamp here if you want to see what they all look like. But I'm going to go with, we'll go with Pastel, I think. I like the way Pastel looks. Kind of this nice deep blue. There's several different options and looks, including black and white, and they all have variety in the coastline color, landmass outline color, freshwater color, all this stuff. But we'll just be jumping right in here. Now, one thing I really like about Wonderdraft is I can use my Cintiq tablet and my stylus here, my pen, and I can't do that in Inkarnate very well. Like, I could go like that in Inkarnate and then do another one, but I can't actually make a land shape, you know, something like this in Inkarnate with my pen. I can use the mouse. This piece of software works really well with mouse or with tablet. Certain things I did find myself using the mouse for because it was just easier. But I'm just blobbing in a big landmass here. This is something like you would probably do in Inkarnate, and you would usually maybe take the eraser tool, and let's make it a little smaller, and then you'd go in and you kind of carve away at what you have there to make it look a little more jagged and realistic, and et cetera, et cetera. But here's the really nice thing about Wonderdraft. They have these elevation tools here, so you can lower the elevation of your land or raise, and in this case, you're like raising it up out of the sea. And you can kind of set the roughness and brush size over here, and that is a nice way to get a pretty natural looking coastline. We'll even, draw an island up here, and you can see it's just, it's giving me kind of a natural looking island. Or you could subtract and go in and just carve away at what you have here, and it'll give it that kind of natural look. So Inkarnate takes a long time to make a natural looking coastline. It's a lot of manual labor, but this makes it pretty easy. And here's an even easier tool. With this, you can auto-generate. I usually go with continent, but you can mess with some of the other ones, and we'll choose the roughness and detail. Turn the detail down just a hair. We'll leave it there. And generate. And there we go. I don't like that one. Let's keep trying. Okay. That one's pretty good. We'll go with that. I'm going to add a little bit to it. So once you find one you like, you can always customize it. I should use the raise elevation tool instead. I just want to make this a little thicker. Maybe we'll make something going out here, another peninsula going out here. Okay. Something like that I think looks pretty good. Zoom out a little bit and see how that looks. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, I think actually I need some more land out here, so I'm going to just make the brush size pretty big. I just want less water on my map. Just fill this space a little bit more. Okay, and it's that easy. It's just super easy, and I don't really have to go in and mess with it. I think that looks pretty good the way it is. Whereas if I was using the brush tool here, like you do in Inkarnate, it's, yeah, it's going to take some work to make it look good. All right, another thing. This has an undo button. Yay, I like undo buttons. Inkarnate does not have that. So with the sea, you can change the water hue, water saturation. You can change all the water colors. You can customize that. The land, you can do a lot of the same stuff here. And, you know, you can change these colors. This is kind of an interesting option. You can really customize the way, I kind of like that. It almost looks hexagonal around the edges. Like, yeah, but I think we'll stick with what we had here, uniform blend the default on this one. Paths, you can make roads. I'm not going to be doing this in my map, but you can just see how that works there. Yeah, you can make a dotted one. And you can make it, you know, curve if you want to just go like that. You can just keep kind of clicking and it'll give it a little bit of a natural variation, which is nice. The next thing I'm going to do is change a bit of the land color. You could just stick with one color throughout, but I'll change it a bit. We're going to go with a kind of a grassy region here. Make that greenish. Really like it. Looks good. We should make like a white northern, just the tips will be a little bit whitish here. Let's make our brush a lot smaller. Just a bit of white. And of course you can kind of, you know, go in and pick an in-between color now and blend it a bit if you want to. Okay, so the blending is not really something I've mastered yet, but anyway, we'll keep the video moving here even though it doesn't look great. So mountains, I'm going to add those next. I like to add those fairly quickly. So there are some color options, which can look really nice. I'm going to try actually these black and white ones that really blend well with whatever color you already have down here. And actually, before I move on, I did want to get a desert color too. We can try that out a little bit here. So let's add a new color in this central region here. Let's make our brush bigger. I'm going to keep my mountain size pretty small so my world doesn't look too small. And I'm going to put these mountains in right here. And I'm just holding the brush down and going nuts. Put some more mountains over here as well. And you can see that the nice thing about these black and white mountains, they're just the line art and it'll show up whatever color. So if I put some here, it's yellow. If I put some there, it's green, etc. All right, now we can also do some hills. So I'll do a few of those. And we'll zoom in a bit here so you can see this better. Those hills are a little small, but we'll roll with it. Lots of different options. I don't like those ones. These ones are actually kind of nice looking. All right, next up, I often like to do rivers. So I'm going to go to land, and then down here you've got rivers, and we'll make some going out of the mountains to the sea. There we go. Oh, and so I can click once and then click again, and we can make this kind of curving river here. There you go. Looks like they're a little thicker than I'd like, so I'll kick it down to 3. And we'll make one going out here. If you hold the space bar down, you can kind of click and drag and move it around on the map, which is nice, just like in Photoshop. Next, we're going to go in for some forests. So several different options here. And again, the black and white ones are just going to blend with whatever background color you have on the land. And the other ones will, you know, be green, basically. There's also these kind of tufts of grass here. So let's zoom in a little more. And see how that looks. So yeah, these grassland here. More grassland. I made everything so small. It's a bit hard to see, but I like to keep my map feeling very large. This world feeling very large. All right, we'll do some forests. Make the trees a bit bigger. Okay, we'll do a forest right here for sure. And you can place them individually by clicking there, or you can just drag it all around and color your trees in. All right, we'll choose a different style. Little evergreen trees. I'm having trouble really getting them very thick in here. I'm not sure which slider does that, but it's not letting me put trees in here. So I think that's something that could be improved. I would like to just, put a huge cluster of trees in there. It doesn't seem to want to let me do that. But yeah, there's a lot of nice options for trees. So yeah, we can put some in the snowy region up here and they will be nice and white. And you go down here and they turn whatever background color you have there. So kind of cool. It's a nice feature. All right, other symbols, of course, we got settlements. And you've got all these like monsters and dragons and stuff, You can, yeah, all kinds of stuff. But I'll mess with some of these cliffs, actually. We'll put a cliff down here. This is way too big. There we go. Some kind of like canyon out here. Let's do another sort of thing right here. Let's put a ship out in the ocean here. Zoom out a bit so we can see what we're doing. There we go. And then we've got our settlements. That is a big castle. So this is probably going to be like some kind of capital city. Now, they don't have a ton. I wish they did have more. And I think they are getting more. And I think they have the option for people to make their own custom ones. And there'll be like a library, I think, of custom ones that people have made that you can download. So I like my cities pretty small, especially when they're this style. They do have these marker icons just like this, which, then you can make that quite a bit bigger. Something like that for a settlement, which would be fine. And they have these more 2D looking ones here. And then they've got a lot of the line art only ones here so that you can, once again, it'll blend with whatever color is in the background. But for me, I will be using these 3D-ish ones here. So this will be my capital city. We want to make it pretty darn small. And we'll put the capital city maybe like right here, the mouth of the river. It's a good place for a big port city. And you've got others. You can put this little keep or something out here. Another little keep of some kind up here in the mountains. This nice tower here, we'll put, this is just a huge tower. I made that a little too big, and that's okay. This castle here. And some villages and such. Little tiny villages. And maybe you can even kind of cluster these together and, put this with this. Make it seem a little bit bigger. All right, our map is coming along. Now, in terms of the colors, I'm not really digging it. Let's mess with this just a minute here. Land, colors. I need my yellow, and we're going to expand this out here a little more. That looks better. And then for our green, we're just going to make some other greenish colors here. Okay, so the brown isn't working so well. I'm not really digging it. We'll just leave it the way it is. The colors are definitely something that, like, oh yeah, I need to mess with this more and really master it. I feel like Inkarnate does make it a little bit easier to put these kind of different colors together to make them look good. And they have their presets. I don't think they let you choose any color you want, but they do have a wide variety. I'm not quite sure what this overlay feature is, but it looks like it actually will let you upload something as an overlay. But we're going to do some labels now just to show you briefly. I'm not going to label everything here, but briefly show you how that works. So you have city presets, town presets, and water and terrain presets. So for terrain, for example, we could label these mountains. Let's try it. We'll be just super creative here and call it, like, I don't know, the rough spine. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so you can rearrange it. You can give it a little curve if you want to. And voila, there we go. So yeah, I think that does work pretty well. Let's do a sea water here. We'll call this one the Eastern Sea. Once again, extremely creative here. My brain is a little fried. It's Friday. Okay. So that just kind of shows you how that works here. We could label the land. We'll call this the land of Golrock. Sounds like Orcish. I don't know. So we'll change this from water to, we'll make it city, and then we'll make it much bigger. We don't want this one to curve. And we'll make it like a size 80 font here. And maybe even 95. There we go. And we will put our title for our world way up here. And if we zoom out a little bit now, you can see a little better how our map is shaping up. We'll get a town name here. We'll just call this The Keep. Oh, it looks like it changed this one too, so shoot. So the labels are a little bit confusing for me here. I'm not sure, I kind of messed up on some of my text and I'm not sure how I can delete it. So that is a bit of a problem. This looks like it just resets the presets or deletes a preset maybe. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. All right, so the text, I'm still messing with it here, and I'm starting to get a little better, but it's still a little bit of a learning curve on that, and I think they could stand to make it more user-friendly. All right, so the map is really coming along nicely here, and I think I've pretty much showed you everything I wanted to, but before we sign off, I did want to show you some of the other themes, as I promised. So you can choose what you want to apply this theme to, whether you want it to apply to just the water or the ground or whatever. But I'm just going to try the whole thing here. So let's move this out of the way so we can see it better, see what it does. So let's try the black and white filter. That's what that looks like. It's not totally black and white. Go to the eastward filter. This one's very, dark and kind of gritty feeling. I like it. Got the feudal filter. Definitely got a cool look. Paper filter. Very nice, kind of Tolkien-esque. Pastel filter. That's the one we've been working in. And then you've got the worn filter. So lots of nice options, a good deal of variety, and a lot of ways that you can tweak and customize using all these sliders and deciding what you want to apply the themes to. So a couple other things I just really quickly wanted to mention is there is the option to add these kind of navigation lines here that you can see. So you can add as many of those as you want. And I also didn't show the compass roses, but there's quite a few compass rose type symbols that you can add. So yeah, lots more symbols that I didn't really use on the map I made, but some nice things. So the big question I kind of posed at the beginning here is this application an Inkarnate Killer? I think that it is better than Inkarnate in a lot of ways, but I do not think it is. I think that there will still be a valid place for Inkarnate, and I still think there will be people who do prefer Inkarnate over Wonderdraft. Personally, given my situation, I think I would rather have Wonderdraft. First off, the pricing. This is only $19.99 right now. It is pretty affordable, and you get it for all eternity. Whereas Inkarnate does have a free version, so that's cool. You should definitely go check it out and sign up for that. However, their paid version is, I think, $5 a month or $25 per year. It's a subscription. And personally, I'd rather just own the software. That's my preference. Still, what does Inkarnate have going for it? Well, I think that Inkarnate does just have way more options for towns and cities and all this stuff in the pro version. Even in the free version, there's quite a bit. But in the pro version especially, there's just way more options. That's something that probably Wonderdraft will get with time. Inkarnate didn't have all that at the beginning either. So I think it'll just take time for Wonderdraft to build up that library. But I also have to say that I think Inkarnate's icons and symbols are just prettier. They just look nicer. They're better drawn in general. They have nice vibrant color and they're very crisp, yet they still kind of have this painted feel. All of that said, I do like that Wonderdraft is more customizable. It's not so easy when you look at a Wonderdraft map to say, oh, that was made with Wonderdraft. Whereas Inkarnate, there's only like one water style. There's very little variation in land and the style of settlements and such. And it's just really easy to spot. Oh, that's an Inkarnate map. Whereas Wonderdraft, maps can look very, very different depending on all these sliders and themes that you choose. So that's a really nice feature, in my opinion, for getting a map that looks unique. Another couple things I already mentioned is that undo button. The undo button is huge. It's so helpful, and Inkarnate not having it is just a real pain in the butt. And then lastly, you have the coastline issue. I love how easy it is to get natural, nice-looking coastlines with Wonderdraft. It's just such a cinch, and that's one of the more aggravating things when I sit down with Inkarnate, is spending, a good 10 or 15 minutes getting a coastline to look just so. And even so, maybe still noticing some spots that I'm not happy with. I can tell that was a circular brush right there. So I'm not here to tell you what's right for you, but I really do like Wonderdraft. And I think at this time, I'm leaning more in the favor of Wonderdraft over Inkarnate, but I think there's a valid place for both. I'd love to hear what you think. If you've tried either of them, leave your comments down below, or is there another application that you prefer? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and everybody take care. You'll see me again very soon.